Hey everyone, it's Gem here, and welcome to my Camp Cretaceous Treehouse build. This build was definitely a tricky one for me because of all the different levels and layers. I didn't know this before this build, but you can only, well, I knew that you could only go up to 4 levels above ground in The Sims, but I didn't know that, if you put a platform on top of a room, you can elevate that platform after deleting the room. You can elevate the platform like much higher than 4 levels. I say much higher, but really it's only maybe like up to 6 levels now instead of 4 levels. So it is a technique that you can use to make your room a bit higher, but still it wasn't tall enough for the proportions of this build. I still went with it because, limitations of the game, but that made the treehouse look a little bit different than the show. But basically, I used the tallest level for the girls' dorm, and then I made the main part, which is the part that I'm working on right now, the common area, a little bit lower than the girls' dorm, and the boys' dorm area would be the lowest level. And I'm kind of basing this off just where the characters kind of run to and from the show, as well as some shots they have of the exterior of the treehouse from kind of far away. You can see that there is the main common area, and then there's sort of like 2 little pods next to it. And also from certain shots, you can see the sort of deck area where they have their campfire as well. And I absolutely love the design of this treehouse. I mean, even with dinosaurs running after me, or more like me running away from dinosaurs, I guess, I wish this was a real camp. Like, sign me up. I guess part of what makes this camp special, or I guess what makes the treehouse common area special, is the really nice windows that they have in the common area, as well as in the different little pods, I'm going to call them, where the boys and girls dorms are. And basically I used the half gabled roof to make these windows, and then I'm using a technique I saw the Sims stream use in one of her videos. I love her videos, by the way, guys. You probably know her on YouTube here. So I'm using a technique that she used to kind of hide the wall portion of the roofs. So basically, if you use a door and you put it down where those pesky little walls are showing, that door will help hide it. It'll turn that part invisible. And I just love this technique because it's flexible. It is a little bit tedious because you do have to do it at least like 3 times for each roof piece that you use. But it's really flexible because you can choose where you want to put it. And I use the island living doors as well, just like she did in her video, because and I realized why, because that door covers everything from the floor to ceiling, so it's a lot more efficient. You can definitely use multiple doors if you have different parts still sticking out of that roofing wall area still sticking out. But of course, why use multiple doors when you can just use one door? But speaking of multiple doors, there are so many hidden doors in this lot. So I use that technique quite a bit, and after I put the doors down, I shrink them with the tool mod so that they become super, super small and you can't see them, but they're still there. They're just at 0.001 percentage size or scale. So there's actually a lot of doors in this build. You just can't see them. I'm not sure if that will affect the download of this lot. And by the way, guys, all these builds I'm doing, everything on YouTube is uploaded to my Sims Gallery account. So if you would like to download it, you can definitely find me there under the username Geminetic. And you can search for Camp Cretaceous Treehouse, and this build will be there. I'm just laying out the structure of everything before I get to the really fun part of furnishing everything. So right now I am building the elevator, and again, this is where the Sims game limitations kind of really makes me want to like scream a little bit, which I do internally. So basically you can't put anything under an existing, what's it called, block cluster. So I couldn't put anything directly under the dorm or common area without having it have like a huge platform. So I was like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? I need to create an elevator. You know, I was really thinking you could actually just put like more levels under something, but I guess you can't. So what I did is basically I used the super tall foundation as part of the elevator, and I found a somewhat matching foundation print with a somewhat matching wallpaper print. There is a slight difference if you look closely, but hopefully that is how I kind of quote unquote faked the elevator shaft part. And also because of some building conflicts, I couldn't get the elevator shaft directly under where the elevator would be in the common area, and also align with the ground floor entrance at the same time, because I can't build the ground floor entrance too close to where the common area is. Like, they can't overlap, which really annoys me if you can't tell. But what I had to do was kind of extend the elevator shaft, like make it come out a little more so that it would actually touch the building where the entrance is. And that's how I kind of like baked the elevator being attached on both sides, but it's not ideal. I mean, I also had to add like a pristine, well, I use pristine pedestal, the item, and I expanded it, made it bigger. And I basically added it to the back of the building so that it kind of looks like an extended part of the building, because I can't add actual walls and make the building bigger. So you can see here I use pristine pedestal, and also windows were another challenge. You can't put windows in foundations, obviously. Again, I mean, this is not that weird, but it's just another limitation. So using the lovely, lovely tool mod, I made the windows lower. So I put them in the same position, and then I would make them lower, and so that they all line up vertically. And of course, these windows are for the elevator. You know, when you're going up the elevator in that shaft, you can look out the windows. And then after I lined them up, I deleted the wall, and then we have perfectly lined up windows. The next part of the build is also something that really didn't go as I had planned, because the treehouse isn't as tall as I hoped for. So basically I am lining up these live edit wood posts, and I use a tool mod to make them lie down in the direction that I want. And I'm sort of making a web because I am going to slowly elevate each layer of the web. So I'm starting with the outermost layer first, and I'm making that the highest and closest to the base of the treehouse portion. And then I am elevating the second layer and making that a little bit lower, and then I'll do the same for the third and the fourth, so on. And basically this is to make that structural beam that holds up the treehouse, because just looking at the exterior of the treehouse, there is a sort of like a really beautiful like beam sort of structure underneath it, and it's really nice in the show. But because my treehouse is so short, the beam that I have is more like wide and encompassing. I don't even know how to describe it. Like, it's just different. It's not the same feel because my treehouse is so short. But you know what? I feel like it was kind of necessary because it is kind of weird to have such a large structure just sticking out from the tree with nothing below to support it. So I made that part, and then I also made some slanted, I think they're 45-degree angled posts, and then I kind of like put them around the web that I made just to show that it's supporting it and that everything is connected. And the next part that is kind of different from the design of the treehouse from the show, and that I also felt was difficult to convey, was the roofing. The roof in the show is not really a roof. Like, every structure is kind of covered with a sort of like tent like material, like a canvas material, and it's very organic. It's very like flexible looking, and we don't have that in The Sims. Joy. So basically I had to use the yellow steel looking roof pattern from the Eco Living pack, but it just doesn't have the same effect, I feel. But now we're finally getting to the fun part, which is furnishing the inside. And on the show, they don't show where the washrooms are at all. So I kind of just attached the washrooms to where the bunks are because, I mean, it would be convenient, right? You don't want to wake up in the morning and really have to go and then walk like all the way up the stairs, down the stairs, around the tree to another place where the washrooms are. So I thought it would be nice gameplay as well to just have the washrooms right next to where the bunk beds are. And oh my gosh, I love that they finally put bunk beds in the game. I mean, this is not recent, but I remember when I first wanted to build this tree house, there were no bunk beds. And I think that was part of the reason why I didn't work on this build then, because I was like, ugh, bunk beds are such an integral part to, you know, being in a camp and this tree house, and I don't want to have to kind of mess around to figure out a way to make bunk beds without custom content. Although I think there was a way with a tool mod you could, but I'm just so happy they put in bunk beds. Like, it's just one of those things where it's like, yes, a win for the people who play The Sims, you know, or Sims 4. And for the washrooms, I was thinking originally of making it like kind of a bit more grimy, but then I'm like, wait, what am I thinking? Like, they're freaking basically like glamping, not even really actually camping, and their entrance to their camp house is like a freaking elevator. So I made the washrooms like a little bit more modern, a little bit more sleek, but still with that nice wood element with the showers and the sinks. And finally, probably the part you guys have all been waiting for if you have watched the video from start till now. Thank you so much. You are awesome. Totally, totally awesome. But this is a part where I actually work on furnishing the common area. And when I first saw this, I was like, I think I made the common area a little bit too big. I mean, for 6 kids. But then I'm like, wait, no, they kind of just, I mean, it was only 6 of them because they were like kind of there on like a trial, right? That's why. I mean, when the camp is supposedly up and running, it would be like way more kids than just 6 to 1 treehouse, I'm assuming. So I'm like, yeah, no, that makes sense. Or maybe I'm just explaining away why I made the common area so much bigger than it should be. But in the show, they have a really lovely full-size fossil of a T-Rex, and unfortunately, we don't have any dinosaur items in The Sims. Okay, there's not no dinosaur items. It's just the best dinosaur item we have is this T-Rex head from Get Famous, and I love it. It's so beautiful. Do you guys think we'll ever have a Get Dinosaurs pack? Get Dinosaurs kit? Get them dinosaurs kit. I don't know what it's going to be called. I get so confused with pack names. Sometimes I have to like stop myself and then think for like a good minute and then be like, oh yeah, that's what that pack is called. But yeah, we could have a Get to Dinosaurs kit. And I don't know. I mean, EA worked with Disney. I don't know if they'll work with like Universal, but it's possible, right? They can work with Jurassic World, create some dinosaur items. No? No? Okay, well. I'm making the part of the kitchen now. And I guess you have to use the word kitchen loosely because it's technically in the show, it's just like a shelf with like built in cereal or candy dispensers. I can't really tell. And there's also like a built in ice cream machine. So I was trying to imitate that. And I say imitate because I didn't make it exactly the same. Just for terms of gameplay, it's much more useful to make a counter. So that's what I have there. Counter, and then with a little ice cream machine from the one of the packs. I can't remember now. Something outdoorsy and summery. But I also added in a stove and a sink later on because, correct me if I'm wrong, but you can't even make salad without a stove, even if you have a fridge. Like, am I wrong or is my game just glitching out? I don't know. I just add in a stove anyways because, again, at first I was like, you know what? They're camping. They're not supposed to be using a stove. But then it's like, hold on. I mean, they're really like living at a luxury hotel, basically, in the theme of a treehouse camp. So it's not really like your basic camping, but still really cool. I would definitely want to go to this camp. It's kind of funny because, well, spoiler alert, a little bit spoiler alert. I mean, I don't think I've been talking too much about the actual show, but a little bit of a spoiler alert. So in season 1, if you guys have seen the show, they kind of, like, that's the only time they spend actually in this treehouse. And then later it gets destroyed, demolished, I guess, really easily too. Which is kind of like, okay, I thought it was like high up there, but I guess not. The Indominus can climb or something, but they actually don't spend that much time in this treehouse, and I wish they would have. It would have been really fun to see them interact in it more. The campsite that they have later built from like bits and pieces, it's so cute though. I don't know if you guys want me to build that campsite as well, I could. But again, I wish we had dinosaurs like in the game. I mean, this is so wishful, beyond the stars wishful thinking. We don't even have horses or interactive babies, yada yada yada. But dinosaurs, man, come on, partner with Universal and get me a Jurassic World pack, you know. Although if they did that, I'm not sure if there would be items in there that I would actually like. Although, to be fair, I actually really like the Star Wars pack from a building perspective, don't get me wrong. And I know there's like a lot of dislike. I don't want to use the H word, HAT word, but there's a lot of dislike centered around that pack. And I think it came out in a bad time when people were really hoping for something else. And right now I'm just using the Stony Goodness slab to create this chunk of rock that kind of sits close to the elevator entrance / exit. And man, Stony Goodness slab is such a great item if you're making like custom builds, I guess. But some people have asked me, or I guess one person asked me in my Avengers video how I made the logo, and this is how I made the logo. Well, this process, like this time, is a little bit more detailed because the Avengers logo is like a stylized A, so it was like a simpler shape. But because this shape was more organic, I created a custom content image, really simple, with just the Jurassic Park logo on it so that I could trace out the dinosaur with the pool lights. And I also made the pool lights like really, really tiny for the teeth, if you can't tell. And ta-da, there is the beautiful logo. And now you don't have any custom content in your game after you delete the quote-unquote stencil. And I also added in some cracks to make it look more rock-like, because I think there are some cracks, and then there's also colored stones in the slab of rock as well, but I omitted that because I think I just didn't want to cover all the hard work I did with the pool lights, and I think it looked a little bit odd too because they're both objects that are kind of like sticking out. And last but not least, I am working on landscaping. And of course, as usual, my builds are too massive for the lot, so I had to cut off the front part. I mean, it was either that or the actual structure, so I'm like, of course, I'm going to omit the front entrance part. It's supposed to be like a complete circle, but I don't have space for that, so now it's a half circle with black rocks in there. And I did make these two roofing structures that were supposed to imitate the canvas kind of draping off the building and the first floor, but I deleted those. It just looked kind of weird because, like I said before, the roofing structure is like really solid and the canvas is a lot different. So I just deleted that and decided to kind of make up the space with some trees. There are some trees around since they are in a jungle, but I was really highlighting that circular sort of driveway / welcome area, and to make it look really grand. You know, when you show up at the camp, this is like what you see first, right? Anyways, I am going to leave this video here, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any comments or suggestions on how I can make my videos better, please let me know in the comments below. Please give this video a like, subscribe to my channel. I have a lot of huge builds in the works, and they are some pretty awesome ones, so hopefully you guys wouldn't want to miss out on seeing those. I am not going to say this time that I have a build schedule arranged because I don't want to jinx myself. I think if I stop saying that, then it'll actually happen. But make sure you stick around for the build tour at the end of this video. Thanks again so much for watching my Camp Cretaceous treehouse speed build, and I will see you guys in the next video.